Right then, lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. We're going to be discussing lots of Arsenal stuff in this video. The COVID-19 update, really disgusting there. Mikel Arteta won't be available for Manchester City. I've told you about that. We'll dive into the latest around that. The rest of the other players that are also not available for Manchester City. Saka to Liverpool, according to the Mail Online. We'll also be discussing that. Bruno Guimarães 40 million transfer, Tariq Lamptey and Philippe Coutinho's agreement to join Arsenal. He knows if he wants to play in the World Cup there in December, he will have to play for Arsenal at least to get a chance. Because we're going to be discussing, of course, a couple of other things. Dennis Zakaria, Tariq Lamptey, Patrick Schick, and more. Make sure you smash a like on this video. Make sure you also subscribe to the channel, because starting January, we'll be having a morning live show to discuss more of Arsenal transfers. And then this show will be coming back in February. We are sponsored by the beautiful people there at Mailbet, and they're telling you if you want to bet if you want to earn some money off your passion, it is easy. Go down in the in the description. There is a link. Click on it, register with them, use my promo code Cossy to earn a 300% bonus. But remember, bet responsibly. Do not bet anything you cannot actually lose, and be sure to be very careful, because your capital can go up as well as down. Let's get the party started, lads. Let's start off with Bukayo Saka and his representatives, who are being reported that they will be considering a move to Liverpool. Now, the Mail Online did break this story yesterday, and they said Bukayo Saka and his representatives are very aware of Liverpool's interest in the player, and of course they will be very eager to listen to what Liverpool have to say. It's not really interesting for Arsenal fans. It's not really interesting for the Arsenal fan base. What I can say about this, and of course it's my opinion, I think they want a new contract that is really good. They just want a new contract because they're looking at this point in time, they're having one of the hottest brands in football. They're having one of the hottest English players there, in the Premier League. Bukayo Saka, he's really developing well. Shirt number 7 at Arsenal. Do I think he will be moving away from the Emirates Stadium? I do not think so. I think Saka is really valuable. I think he knows how much Mikel Arteta values him, how much the fan base there value him, and of course how much his future is a very big potential there at Arsenal Football Club. Can he move away from Arsenal? Yes, he can. Of course, we've seen these things really happen. It happened with Liverpool. They were there trying to rebuild their process, and then they lost Raheem Sterling. But I cannot see Saka leaving Arsenal. It's a one transfer that I really cannot see. It's one deal that I really cannot see happen to Liverpool. Yes, Liverpool do want to replace Salah and Mane. They are really aging. They played so many minutes there. Mane will be turning 30. But again, that is not an easy one. That is not an easy transfer. It could cost you 150 million to sign Bukayo Saka. Can they pay that? Are they willing to pay 150 million as Liverpool? I do not see that happen anytime soon. I think the only threat Arsenal have is Bukayo Saka failing and refusing to sign a new contract. But if he can sign a new contract, Liverpool will be definitely kicked out of this deal. Of course, Bukayo Saka, Arsenal looking to give him a new contract. I can confirm that until 2027. But I think his agents are thinking about more money. They're thinking about more incentives. They're thinking about more economic benefits in terms of the player, and they just want to put in just simple pressure, just simple threats to Arsenal, so that they can actually act on that deal very quickly. So Saka to Liverpool, that is a transfer leak that has actually come out from the Mail Online. I do not expect that to resurface in the news, and if he does, I promise I will not do a story about it. Let's get into what is the latest in terms of Arsenal transfers, and exactly who's going to be joining the club, what is actually around clubs, players linked to the club. Let's start off with Bruno Guimarães, because again, another big hint around Bruno Guimarães. Lyon will be willing to sell the player for 40 million euros. Now, according to reports from L'Equipe and France, Arsenal will be going back to try to sign the man himself, Bruno Guimarães, and Lyon will be very open. They will let the player go for only 15 million euros. Of course, I understand that the Brazilian has been on the Arsenal radar for some time. Since the last summer, we really wanted the player. We do appreciate the player. Mikel Arteta loves him. Edu loves him. He's Brazilian, obviously, and I expect that kind of connection between Edu and Brazilian players. But I do not see that transfers again happen in January. Maybe in the summer, that's when I'll be very, very convinced. I said it yesterday that this is a very, very complicated deal. At the moment, Lyon know if they want to qualify for Champions League, if they want to qualify for European football, they need to keep their best talents. At the moment, they're really, really doing well. The likes of Houssem Aouar have regained their form. The likes of Lucas Paqueta, the likes of Bruno Guimarães, they're really doing well there in the French League One. Can they let go of their best talents at this point in time? It would be an absolute mistake. So I don't see Lyon do that. But again, in the summer, this is a perfect midfielder that we need to go for. This is a perfect deal that we need to go for, because again, it's a deal that is structured in a way Arsenal would want it. A player that's going to sign in the summer, a player who's only 40 million euros. I've already said it. It is a bargain. It is an absolute bargain to get Bruno Guimarães for only 40 million euros. It's a bargain. Go down there, get him, sign him, and you're going to see the difference between Bruno Guimarães and Granit Xhaka. Obviously, in the summer, I do expect Xhaka either to be moving on or Arsenal getting a serious CM, a serious central midfielder to partner Thomas Partey. Bruno Guimarães, for me, is that player. He's got everything you need. He's got the passing, he's got the tackling, he's got the dribbles. He can add some goals to the midfield, from the midfield. I think he's a perfect player just to play in that area. Can Arsenal get him? That is a very, very different question. But of course, we'll be keeping tabs to see what happens in there. Now, of course, because many of our right backs are injured at the moment and they have contracted COVID-19. Ainsley there, one of the players that has actually contracted and been infected by COVID-19, as well as Tomiyasu and Cedric and Callum Chambers. Arsenal is trying to sign a new right back in January, and that name that has always been said is Tariq Lamptey. Now, of course, we spoke about Tariq Lamptey a lot in the summer. He was injured, so he couldn't actually make a move from Brighton to any other club. But again, back in the news, Chelsea were interested and are still interested in Tariq Lamptey, but Arsenal are also very, very much interested in signing in Tariq Lamptey. It would be a very, very, very good cover. It would be a very, very good understudy to Tomiyasu. I think he's got some more attributes to his game more than Tomiyasu. Defensive wise, I think Tomiyasu is the better player. But going forward, crossing in the ball, creating many chances, it looks like Tariq Lamptey is the man. He's very, very young. He's only 20 years of age. If he comes in at Arsenal, he can be that kind of player that is that provides that kind of backup. That can be that kind of backup to either Tomiyasu or to either Callum Chambers, whoever plays in that role. I think it would be a very, very good addition. But in January, can Brighton let him go in January? It's a very big question. I don't see that happen. It could be a move for the summer, but in the summer, should Arsenal go for a right back? Probably yes, probably no. I think our priorities will be lying elsewhere. But what I can confirm with Tariq Lamptey is that Arsenal are really interested, because we have a crisis. Of course, in the last game we did see my man Ben White playing there as an inverted right back. It really, really did well, but of course you can't play him there all the time. You need a natural right back. You need someone who's very, very experienced in playing in that area. And I think Tariq Lamptey as an addition in January would be a very, very good one. Let me know what you think about Tariq Lamptey joining Arsenal there as a backup to Tomiyasu, but also as a player that could actually potentially take on that right back role, because it's so good in terms of going forward. In terms of defending his football, maybe Tomiyasu is absolutely too excellent. It's very, very hard to compare to players like Tomiyasu, because he really plays like a centre back. That's why his defensive awareness and attributes are very, very strong. But in terms of going forward, Lamptey is a class of a player that maybe Arsenal will be in need of. Now, moving on, lads, still talking about players that will be joining. Dennis Zakaria has confirmed to Borussia Mönchengladbach that he will be leaving the club on a free in the summer, and this has prompted Arsenal to start thinking about getting him there in the summer. Now, of course, so many players have been linked with Arsenal, including Dennis Zakaria. Last summer he was linked with the club. Of course, Borussia Mönchengladbach thought then that they would actually increase his contract, extend his contract. They have failed at that. They wanted to sell him in the January transfer window. It looks like it's not going to happen. The player is going to move on a free in the summer. So Arsenal are prompted to look at that deal. But of course, for me, Zakaria, when there is Bruno Guimarães there, I wouldn't go for Dennis Zakaria. He's a very, very good player, still very young, 20 years of age. He's turning 21 next year. Very good player. Of course, he's playing for Switzerland. He could actually come in for Granit Xhaka. But is he the kind of player that we need as a central midfielder? Is he the kind of player we need to play with Thomas Partey? For me, He is not. His ball progression is a little bit limited as compared to what I want. But defensive-wise, he's a very, very good player. Very, very top player in terms of being a defensive midfielder. But for me, central midfield is what I'm looking at. Bruno Guimarães, Renato Sanchez. That is the quality. That is the kind of player I'm looking at. Zakaria, yes or no? I mean, if he comes in as a backup player to Thomas Partey, that can work. But of course, with Obasam Lekonga already in that area, I do not see Arsenal bringing in another understudy to Thomas Partey. Now, what is coming out from Spain, Philippe Coutinho and his agents have actually agreed to the terms of Arsenal. And what is happening is that they have accepted the fact that if they want their player to actually feature in the World Cup in 2021, in December, 2022, sorry, in December, in November, December, what's going to happen? They will have to move on from Barcelona to another club. Now, a couple of clubs have been interested. I've spoken about that. But what is happening with Philippe Coutinho at the moment? Arsenal is the club that will be signing Philippe Coutinho. Personal terms are agreed. Everything looks to be set for the player to join. Initial contacts were made, and of course, advanced talks will be happening very, very soon. Mikel Arteta, according to what I know, he's told the Arsenal board that he wants the player down at the Emirates Stadium. We still wait to see what's going to happen. In there, Barcelona are very, very rest assured that he's going to be leaving in January. He has rejected Newcastle. They really, really wanted him. They put in a lot of money. They put in a lot of effort to sign him, but looks like he has rejected him, and he might be on his way to Arsenal Football Club. So Philippe Coutinho, advanced talks will be happening very, very soon, and anything that breaks out there, I'll be letting you know. But he looks like he's going to be set to be an Arsenal player very, very soon. Of course, in our attempts to get a striker in January, we are going to be rivaling Manchester City for Patrick Schick. Now, Patrick Schick this year has had a very, very good year. Very good year. This season, he has already scored 16 goals and 7 assists in 14 games. That is really, really impressive from the player playing there in the German Bundesliga with Bayer Leverkusen. I think he had a very good Euros. He has had a very, very good year in the German Bundesliga. Manchester City, the fact that they want him, maybe that's going to increase even the price, because I thought it would be around 20 to 25 million euros. But it looks like it's going to be around 30 to 36 million euros if anyone wants to get in Patrick Schick. Look, I think to get in a striker in January, Patrick Schick will be a very, very good player. In the summer, I would decide to go with, for anyone that is better than Patrick Schick. But in January, if there is an opportunity, like I said, if there is any small opportunity to bring in someone in January, let's do that, because the transfer, the title race is very, very, not the transfer race or title race, but the top 4 race is really heating up. And you will need to have many players. You need to have a very, very big squad. So Patrick Schick in January, it's not one person I really look at and I feel like he's really, really developed well. 25 years of age, he has a lot of things to provide in his career. 5 more years to go, or 7 years to go. But in my opinion, I think I look at him as a one-season wonder from the Euros and now to the German Bundesliga. Has had a very good year. Can we replicate that every season? Can he replicate that in the Premier League? It's a very, very big question. But I guess again, he's actually done very, very well down at Bayer Leverkusen, and Arsenal are interested in getting in Patrick Schick. Philippe Saka has come out and spoken about our transfer policy after Arsene Wenger left the club, and he said what we did was actually very, very very, very poor. We really committed very mistakes by trying to buy our way back to the top. That is what we did. We tried to bring in players like Nicolas Pepe for 72 million pounds. We tried to bring in many players that really cost us a lot of money, and that was a big mistake. He said what we are doing at the moment, bringing in young players, developing them, and trying to build a project, is what we should have done a couple of years ago. So that is the Philippe Saka, ex-Arsenal captain, ex-Arsenal player, talking about what exactly Arsenal should have done in terms of transfers after Arsene Wenger. And then lastly, Mikel Arteta will not be available for Manchester City. You've asked me that question over and over again, and I can confirm for the last time, Mikel Arteta will not be available, will not be on the touchline as we take on Manchester City on New Year's Day. So what is happening there is that COVID-19 is really, really affecting our squad. I didn't think we were going to be affected to this magnitude, but around now 4 players with the manager have been infected with the Omicron variant, and looks like Mikel Arteta will be out for around 2 to 3 games there for Arsenal in January. Can that affect us? Absolutely. I've already said it's gonna be a very, very big blow. But again, I can confirm that there are a couple of players like Obasanjo Lokonga will be coming out of quarantine, not for the Manchester City game, but at least very, very soon. So the players that have contracted the virus at the moment, we have Obasanjo Lokonga, he is out. You have Tomiyasu, he is out as well. You have Callum Chambers, he is out as well. Cedric Soares and Ainsley Maitland-Niles. 5 Arsenal players, including Pablo Mari. 6 of them actually have contracted the virus, and the manager as well. So on the first day, on New Year's Day, versus Manchester City will be seeing Arsenal assistants on the touchline. Look, it's gonna be very interesting to see what's gonna happen out of what's gonna come out of that. But what I can confirm is we need to win that game if you're going to chase Chelsea. Chelsea dropped points yesterday, by the way. They drew 1-0 with Brighton. Another big chance for Arsenal to catch up and close that gap. So that is the latest around Arsenal. I'll be letting you know whatever happens around our beautiful club. Smash a like on the video, subscribe, and I'll speak to you right in the next one.